Guys, Eric West here, HawaiiRealEstate.org. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new, I'm all about teaching you everything there is to know about Hawaii and its real estate, but you can't find in the listing. Man, it feels good to say the old. Sorry about that. You know, it's been kind of weird, spotty cell coverage lately. 3G, 5G, IG. No, wait, that's Instagram. But anyway, hey, welcome back to the channel. If you're new, as I just mentioned, my name is Eric West, and my website's HawaiiRealEstate.org. Practicing agent here on the beautiful island of Maui, and I just wanted to take a few minutes to share with you a couple thoughts as it pertains to long-term housing, affordable housing, short-term vacation rentals, and the recent proposed legislation. And I also just want to kind of address a lot of the hate that landlords, homeowners are receiving on social media or when they post something for rent here on the island of Maui, because it's gotten kind of weird, I will admit. And it doesn't make any logical sense from any basic economics, basic math, and just reality, right? But apparently they're somehow trying to weave this into some type of a political message that's got another intention behind it. But just for the record, right, just to basically cover just how life works, right? Just in case some of the locals missed it, or if it's just gotten lost on people in the government here. We live in a society of open market, right? Free market society means that people buy and sell, and you know, there's this thing called supply and demand, and we do have the ability to own private property in this country, on this island. And so just like the price of bread or the price of a car or the price of anything is determined by supply and demand. And so when you look at expensive rent on Maui, when you look at affordable housing issues on Maui, it has nothing to do with anyone having bad intentions. It has nothing to do with someone trying to gouge somebody. It is literally the cost of housing on Maui. So I'll give you an example. Right now I'm standing in a home that's actually just hit the market for rent. This is a property that I sold my client a number of years ago. And the reason I like to kind of highlight this is because it kind of shows you some options in terms of if you're looking for a place to rent on Maui. Matter of fact, I was able to rent the unit out last time with a YouTube video. So, and also Maui rentals are very rare at the moment. But what makes this property special is I think it's the best view on the island. And it overlooks what was once the beautiful town of Lahaina. But my point in all of this is the rent on this is $8,250, right? That's monthly, obviously. And someone might say, oh, that's too expensive. That's too much. That's not being, you know, whatever, nice. Or, you know, all the horrible comments you get online now when you post something for rent on Maui at a certain price. Well, you know, just do yourself a favor, right? And it's real simple, right? In case you're curious, let's say you wanted to purchase this property, right? Which my client did. Well, unless you've got all cash, which most people don't get me wrong, some people do, but most people don't. So they're going to put down a certain amount of money on a property like this. Say it's 20%, which is sort of the minimum. And so let's just say the property was purchased for $2 million, and you put down $200,000. You've got a loan for $1.8 million. Her loan isn't that high, but it's close. So then you have the payment, right? You have the interest, you got the principal, you have the insurance, you have the property taxes, you have the utilities, you've got the pool guy, you got the landscape guy, you've got all these expenses. That's the carrying cost of the property. So whether you rent it out short-term or you rent it out long-term, those costs are fixed. They're pretty much not going to change. So in order for someone to do something that's financially viable, to survive financially, they would have to either go earn that money every single month if the homeowner is going to live in the property, right? It's called making your mortgage payment. Or if they're going to rent it to somebody else, they have to cover their expenses. So I'm a little confused how the county of Maui and different organizations, Lahaina Strong, thinks that by banning short-term vacation rentals is going to somehow free up more housing for locals and make it more affordable. It's not going to change the value of the properties, and if it does, even by a little bit, it's still out of reach for the average American. It's out of reach for certainly any locals that work here. Look up the average or median income for someone that works on Maui. It's not enough to afford the average cost even the average cost of a home or a condo here. So that's just the reality of it. So unfortunately, it's just the way of the world. It's almost like they're taking a social injustice of, hey, there's people that have money, and there's people that earn money, and there's people that don't earn enough money, and then there's the supply and demand of an open market that creates a certain price for something. But ultimately, it's not going to change creating more affordable housing on Maui if you crush the people that were able to buy and afford these places. It just doesn't make any sense. If anything, you know what you're going to do? If you really think about it, they're going to push out the people that can sort of afford these places, but now they can't, right? And so someone wealthier is going to come in, someone that actually has the cash and doesn't need to make a mortgage payment. They're going to push the medium, the average. I mean, they're not average, right? If you can afford a $2 million property, you're not average. But if you can't rent it out because there's no one here to rent it, or you get so much, I mean, this will rent out, don't get me wrong. But my point is that ultimately, they're creating a situation where they're not solving the problem of affordable housing, but they're creating more problems for people that were able to purchase the homes and the condos on Maui. And it'll essentially, those individuals that can't stomach the financial burden are going to have to sell at some point in time. But who's going to buy it? It's not going to be locals, right? It's going to be the next tier of wealth that can afford to buy something and not have to rent it out short-term or long-term. It's really bizarre. Their line of reasoning does not hold any water, and it's just simple economics. Even if even if the price of condos and homes dropped in half, let's just say that through this effort of theirs, the price drops in half. I'm going to contend it still does not make any of these homes affordable for local people. It doesn't. And also the statistics of the homes that burned in Lahaina, 13% were homeowners. 13% of the homes that burned were actually homes that were owned by people that could afford the mortgage or pay cash. The rest of the people were renters. And the reason people rent is because they can't afford to buy most of the time. So they don't have the right credit, they don't have the down payment, that's the big one. But ultimately, it doesn't solve the problem. And if you ban vacation rentals on this island, you're going to basically hurt, again, the lower class, the middle class. All of this, I believe, is designed at some level to hurt the people that are just out there working hard, trying to earn a living. And so, but somehow they've recruited the lowest level of society to somehow hassle those that are doing this, thinking this is going to create a solution. And it's just not. It's going to hurt the economy. It's going to hurt the tax base. One of my clients just did some research on the tourism figures for 2024. And according to the tourism industry, their numbers here in Hawaii tourism industry, so far this year, it has cost the island of Maui $1 billion in the reduction of travelers that are coming here right now. So that has major ripple effects, that has major tax base effects, and ultimately is not a good. Well, I think we've lost our connection. Don't know what's going on. Don't know what happened right there. So, does that all kind of make sense? The price of real estate is what the price of real estate is. And if you're renting to somebody and you think the rent's too high, just look at how much it would cost you to purchase that property and what the carrying cost would be with a mortgage at 20% down, throw in the taxes, throw in the various carrying costs, and from that you somehow have to make rent. And so last time I checked, it's not the job of regular citizens to purchase real estate and then provide it to the lower classes or the people that have less money at a loss. Again, that just doesn't make any sense. Nobody would do that or should do that. If anyone should be subsidizing affordable housing, it should be the government. And last time I checked, Maui County collected a whole bunch of money from the TAT tax, the Transit Accommodations Tax, to fund the Affordable Housing Fund here at Maui, which of course they did absolutely nothing with. So anyway, let's take a quick look around. It's basic economics. It's like, duh. But you know what it is? There's sound bites that are pushing a narrative. It doesn't actually have any basis in reality whatsoever. It's just someone creates the soundbite. People before profits. Lahaina lands in Lahaina hands. It's like, okay, if you can afford the down payment, if you can afford the payment, if you can afford to buy it, then it belongs in your hands. But the thought that somehow you should just put these lands into someone's hands without them earning it or paying for it, well, that's called socialism. That's called the government is going to take the land essentially. And if you should be upset at anybody, it should be the government, right? That's who you should be mad at. You should be mad that the government is taking all this revenue, all this tax revenue, and wasting it. That the government is not doing their responsibilities, right? That is who you should be upset with. You should be at City Hall every single day demanding that the government do what they were supposed to have been doing for the last 10 years. You should be protecting and hooing up all the people that are the private citizens that the government is not representing. That's really the problem. So if you're in bed with the government, you got a real problem right there, because they're the ones that are essentially causing the wheels of the economy to come to a grinding halt, which is how we all pay for all this stuff around us. And ultimately, it's going to be the Oprahs, the Zuckerbergs, the uber elite money that's going to come in here and you're going to take over this island. And the banks, by the way, who have mortgages on all of these properties down here, they have mortgages, and all those mortgages have not stopped. The mortgages are still due every single month. Did you know that? Did you know that the HOA dues are still due every single month? So if you lost a home in Lahaina, if you lost a condominium in Lahaina, you're still making your mortgage payment. If you owned it, you're still making your HOA payment and your mortgage payment. That's the truth. There's no insurance that's going to cover that indefinitely. So who does it benefit? It benefits people that didn't own a home. It benefits people that were living on the street. They got benefits. They got FEMA money. They got, again, nobody got money from Lahaina Strong, Maui Strong, or the community, whatever. No one on any grand scale. So, and FEMA only supported those people that weren't homeowners. So if you were actually someone that worked hard, that qualified for a mortgage, that owned something in this town, you are still making that payment. And how long can they chokehold that person? Normally, if your house burns, right, you're going to be able to rebuild it within, what, 3 to 6 months, probably, in a normal situation. But here we are, a year and a month later, and no one's, I mean, there might be 1 or 2 houses that are going up, but how long do these people have to wait, continuing to make those mortgage payments, continuing to make those HOA payments? Most people can't do that. So who's going to get those properties? The bank is going to get those properties. So if you should be pissed at anybody, you should be pissed at the fact that the government hasn't stepped in and made those banks stop and halt and push all those payments till the end of their mortgages or until the houses are rebuilt. That's who you should be upset with. But what they do, they're amazing, right? They who drive the narrative in this country, they get the people to fight amongst each other, right? While the government is in the back rooms and the back halls passing laws and regulations that completely stifle the people. But the people need to unite and get smart and quit thinking goofy thoughts and being led by the sound bites of the day, the mainstream media and all the BS, and just think with your head, think with your common sense, and know that it's not each other. It's not, we are not trying to hurt each other, right? Everyone is just trying to survive economically. The person that owns this home, same thing. They're trying to survive economically. The person that owns a home in Lahaina is just trying to survive economically. They're just hanging on while the government has got regulations and laws that make that very difficult. And last time I checked, the government's got all the money, the government's got all the control, and they got all the time in the world, and they don't care. So the only people that are going to care is you and me, and when we go and vote, and putting people in office that actually have a brain, have common sense, and are not somehow infiltrated by the special interests, by the elites, and by the yeah, anyway, so I was going to go down a darker path, but I decided not to. Because we all know who's pulling the strings behind all this stuff, right? It's bad news. But anyway, real quick, while we're here, why not? Let's just take it all in. Maybe you need a place to rent in Lahaina and you want to wake up to the most beautiful view on planet Earth. Maybe you do. I don't think there's a better view. You got Ko'o'olave right there. Let's go. Over here you have the beautiful island of Lanai. You've got Sunset Alley year-round. You have a cosmic view of Molokai. You can see all of our beautiful Lahaina town that I pray in Jesus' name will come back better, stronger than before, and everyone shall be made whole. Justice shall prevail. You have the beautiful little neighborhood here of Laniapoko that lost its water rights because the Hawaiians want all their water to go right into the sea, which makes absolutely no sense. There's no beneficial downstream use, which is the way most water rights work, but not here. We're just gonna dump it into the ocean. You can't have it anymore. It goes in the ocean. And oh yeah, by the way, if your town's on fire, you're not gonna have any water, which is the biggest lie ever. There was water in that town. I've got pictures the morning after that fire, and water was gushing out of the water meters. Yeah, go figure that one out. Anyway, I get easily distracted into the offense of that day. Okay, here's a beautiful pool, very deep. Matter of fact, my son Hunter and I, when the owner was still here, she allowed us to come in and do some scuba dive lessons, and he blew some bubbles here. This property actually has 40 acres all the way up practically to the top of Mauna Kahalavai. So you can't see it very good here because there's a big wall, but there's 40 acres up there. So imagine every morning you walk up this little road, you go for a hike, go for a bike, you go for a horseback ride. One of the people that rented this property a few years ago actually had a horse. You can see the remnants of the electric fence that he put up for his horse. So it's a horsing property if you want it to be. She just recently graveled it. Yeah, it's kind of a country setting, gravel. You know how much this gravel costs? You have any idea? It's expensive, man. You want to bring in this much gravel? That's big bucks. Just to maintain a property of this magnitude, just to maintain a property of any magnitude, you got to have some money. It's part of what the renters benefit from, all of that deferred maintenance that they get to take care of. And of course in here you've got it's partially furnished, has beautiful travertine tile. Of course the beautifully upgraded kitchen with lots of granite. Got your stainless steel appliances. And then stackable full-size washer dryer. Got a half bath right here. And then here's your bedroom. So every morning if you wanted to, you could lift your head off the pillow. Not even have to lift your head off the pillow, and you have this beautiful view. And then the bathroom has got your classic standalone tub. Look at that. Gorgeous, huh? I love those standalone tubs. Nice cabinet, countertop, big, beautiful walk-in closet. And then one of my favorite features, I'll be honest with you, is the shower is actually outside. So every morning when you get up to go to work, because you have to make your mortgage payment or your rent payment, like most people, you can shower right out here. And then there's a second bedroom right there. So this is basically a 2-bedroom home. It's not very big, but that's the way it works here in Laniapoko. You have the main houses, which rent for 20, 30 grand a month, right? Like seriously. Looks like we lost the, don't know why I lost the connection there, but this is the second bedroom. So it is connected, but it's not interior space connected. It's connected basically by this breezeway. So this home has worked really well for like a couple that maybe uses the second bedroom as an office, or maybe they've got teenage kids and they use this, for their teenage kids. But yeah, it's just a beautiful setting. Like I said, it's at the top of Laniapoko. It's one of the most, I think it's the most stunning, breathtaking view that you'll ever find. And it's also super quiet up here. You cannot hear that bypass at all. Yeah, it rained a lot last night, boy. It was pouring rain. Now, what else is interesting is, like, in this neighborhood, people used to do short-term vacation rental. There was a time when the county was kind of over, they were just kind of, they were just relaxed about it. It wasn't a big deal. So most of these homes back in the day being what, like 5, 6 years ago, right down in here, when people weren't staying in them, they would rent them out on Airbnb or whatever. Look at this beautiful house right here. That's a serious roof right there. That's probably 25, 30,000 square feet. So this neighborhood, contains some of the most beautiful, epic homes on all west side of Maui. So it just has had amazing architecture, amazing builders have been in here. Ian with Imagine It does some amazing work. Greg Brown put up some beautiful houses in here. call them McClintock. So yeah, there's some amazing opportunities to own high-end, beautiful homes that were built with a lot of love and care. And so what they used to do is they used to rent these out short-term vacation rental. So think about that. Someone could buy a home here, rent it out on Airbnb, and essentially cover their cost and actually make a decent amount of income. They banned that, obviously. You can't get that permit anymore. They don't want people doing that. Okay, fine. So now they only can long-term it. Well, they're not going to long-term it as an affordable, quote-unquote, rate, because there's nothing affordable about these houses. They still cost. The average cottage, which is what this is, 1,000 square foot, is pushing $2.5–3 million bucks. A main home is going to be 5 to 10, somewhere in that range. So if you don't allow those people to short-term vacation rent it, because they're second homes, they're not going to live in it full-time. Some people do. But if you're not going to allow them to vacation rent it and giving people a wonderful opportunity to come here on vacation, to stay with their family, to all be under one roof, not at a bunch of different condos, because there's not many 3-bedroom condos on Maui you can rent. They just didn't build very many. So for a family to come here on vacation and to rent one home is super attractive. It's super appealing. But the county doesn't want you to do that. And the thought process there is what? Because they want to create affordable housing? Well, that's not going to happen. That $10 million house down there, they're not going to rent it out short term because they can't. So they probably won't rent it at all. But if they were to rent it to somebody, they're going to rent it for the cost of that property or what the market will bear, which essentially is going to be anywhere from $20,000 to $30,000 a month. And an ohana like this is going to go from anywhere from $6,000 to $10,000 a month, just depending. This one does have 40 acres, so it's a huge land holding. It's super private. It's got this massive view. Some cottages in Lani Poco won't have a view at all. So it's just like, this is more valuable because of what it has to offer. So anyway, it's supply and demand. The market is going to do what the market does. The government can't necessarily control the market, but they can control the regulations around the market, which ultimately controls if the market thrives or not. And I'm going to say the market is not going to thrive on this island with the current regulations that they have and the current regulations that they're proposing, because ultimately it's not the best thing for the consumer. Why not let the market decide what the market is going to do? That's the best thing to do, because quite frankly, the people in the government, they have no concept of what the market is, what the market does, the needs of the consumers. They are not a customer service focused organization. They are not in reality. Who knows what they are, but they certainly have no clue when it comes to the day-to-day of earning a living, running a business, and what the market wants. Yet they poke their little fingers inside and create regulations that basically thwart the market. So I'm totally against regulations from the government, and even when they are supposed to protect the public health and safety, like in the case of like the FDA or the CDC, it's been proven that it's completely corrupt. They don't protect the people, and they're all bought and paid for. So even when the government is supposed to do what it's supposed to do, which is protect us and help us, they can easily be bought out. Like the FDA now, I think, is 70% funded by the pharmaceutical company. So it's like the fox guarding the hen house. You know what I'm saying? Horrible. And then why they're trying to propose this regulation, these regulations on Maui, makes no sense, but I think the impacts are going to be far-reaching and horrendous, and I'm hoping that we'll get new leadership into Maui County Council, for example. VoteForLolo.com. He's the one guy out of all these thousands of people that live here that's running against Tamara Paulton, and I believe he could be the hope that we have of some common sense. And he's not going to be, doing the bidding of some political action committee that's trying to do things that make absolutely no sense whatsoever. So anyway, I've had a good time rapping. I could keep rapping, but I'm going to stop. Gotta get back to work. But if you have any interest in this vacation rental, it's not a vacation rental, 6 months or longer lease, if you know someone looking for a house, the people that just moved out were workers that were cleaning up Lahaina town. And one last thing I want to throw in there is, because FEMA came in, they boosted, again, the rates of all the long-term rentals, because they started paying vacation rental rates for homes. And so there's another example of the government doing something that has the inverse effect, right? So if you want to, again, complain about high rents on Maui, that's just one little factor additionally, is they started paying exorbitant high rates for homes, which then drove up the rents even more. But the folks that were in here were wonderful workers that were working 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. in town, cleaning it up. They're pal, they're done. And now we're ready for a family to move in or anybody. But to be honest with you, the people that usually rent this kind of a property, has been my experience, they're not locals that work at the hotels. You know, they can't afford it. It's just the rent, the cost of the property is too high. It typically is like somebody that wants a crash pad on Maui, like a second home that they don't have to buy. You don't have to fork up, you know, $3.2 million for this property. You can rent it for $8K a month and have a place that you call home on Maui. Maybe you're thinking about moving here. Maybe you want to see what the vibe is like on the west side. Maybe you just want to check out Maui for 6 months or a year, and you come back and forth. You work from anywhere in the world. Those are the kinds of people that are renting properties like this. It's not locals, right? It's not people that work at the Marriott, or I was going to say landscapers, but landscapers here make a lot of money, so they could probably afford it. They usually, matter of fact, a lot of landscapers own houses here in Laniapoko. They roll up in like a $120,000 truck. You're like, how much to cut my grass? But anyway, the people that rent these properties, they're not from here. They never have been, and they never will be, because tourism jobs don't pay that much, right? Again, who are you pissed off at? Be pissed off at the government for not ever raising the minimum wage, right? Be pissed off at the government for being kind to big business as they profit and pocket thousands of billions of dollars in profit while they on the backs of the little guy. You know, that's who you should be mad at. And so on that note, if you haven't made the switch for Lahaina yet, please do so. Switchforlahaina.com. Just a quick sponsorship ad, because it just made me think about it. You don't want to keep putting pocket into the money of the elites, the Walmarts, the Bezos, the Amazons, you know, Target. You know, they have all these PC, horrible, woke messages that are just don't make any sense. So why should we support them with our dollar? So if you can buy a bar of soap or some toothpaste or some beef from All American, made in America, #1 employer in Idaho. They actually have a ranch on Kauai. And we have workers from Lahaina that are trying to make a living helping with this project. So it's called switchforlahaina.com. I'll put a link in the description. But do what you can to help, whatever it is. I know you will. Watch the video, share the video. Get out there and vote for Lolo.com. Buy the book, The Great Maui Land Grab. Buy the book. What's the other one? Sound the Alarm. 2 that just came out. Get educated on what happened here in Lahaina. We need your help. If they can do it to your vacation spot on American U.S. soil, which it is, they're coming for a town near you. So let this be the place where you learn the agenda and how to fight it, and to wake up, smell the coffee, smell the Kona coffee coming to you from Michelle Melendez on the Big Island. And I'm telling you, we can all make a difference. We can. We just got to band together and pick on the right people. Those idiots in government. All right, guys, I get back to work. I have too much fun rapping, but I don't think anyone actually watches the entire video, so it's just like, it's me and my iPhone and the most beautiful Earth, beautiful view on planet Earth, from the most beautiful place on planet Earth. On that note, I shall return. I don't know where, I don't know when, but I promise you one thing, Maui Dan, it will be from the most beautiful place on Earth, the best lifestyle I personally believe you'll ever find. I've been living it for the last 12 years, and it is nuts. It is amazing. No bugs, perfect weather, got some surf, got some sand, got some turtles waiting for me, some honu, got a nice mahi encrusted piece of fish waiting for me at many, many restaurants, except for Merriman's. Don't go there. Heard some stuff about Merriman's I don't like, so they're on my do not eat list. But anyway, thanks guys. Until next time. Maybe go play some golf. Go mountain biking, dirt biking. Hang on. Go to the gym, go to the spa. What else can we do? Well, we go to Lanai, we go to Molokai. Oh, when you live in Hawaii, you can take these little staycations all over the place. You can go to Kauai, you can go to the Big Island. It's like this adventure happening. It's not like some boring state where it's all contiguous land. Here you get to fly on a little 20-minute flight and your whole world changes. You check in, you have a good time. Go over to the Four Seasons on Lanai with Larry Ellison and the billionaires right there. Believe it or not, it's one island I haven't been to yet. I'm hoping to get there someday. All right, guys, take care. Till next time. Aloha. Eric West.